Alright, so I wanted to make a video on how to use need zones properly. And there's some information about blinds and tree stands and stuff like that in here too. So the best way to start is to find a lookout area. And when you find the lookout area, if you actually look around, if you didn't make too much noise heading towards the lookout area, you can look around, which it was dark and it was hard to see. But if you look around and if you actually find an animal that's in a need zone, it'll mark it as a need zone. So also there's a perk that you can get. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a perk that you can get where they'll be more easier to identify when you're looking around on the tower. So after that, the best thing to do is to find either a tree stand that's near a need zone, like I did here. There's a need zone right behind this tree stand. It's actually all around it, but you can also place a ground blind or something like that. And basically you look at the time of the need zone and plan when to be back at that area, and then go back to a fast travel spot, rest until maybe an hour or 2 hours before, depending on how long it's going to take to travel. I would say don't travel via four-wheeler. I would say walk or maybe run. And then by the time you get there, it'll be, about an hour before, and then you just have to be patient after that. So I got back to the need zone where the tree stand was right here, and basically I just had to wait. And if you just sit there and wait, you can use collars or scents or whatever, maybe a scent eliminator or whatever, so that they can't smell you. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that the tree stand does prevent some sound and scent and visual. It'll lower all that so that they can't see you or hear you or smell you. And if you just wait, eventually they'll start to show up. As long as I didn't make too much noise, they've always showed up within that time period. Which I know sometimes they'll show up right at the end of it. So sometimes you'll sit there for a while. I think right here, I used my collar a couple times, which I don't think it works for that deer, but I think they just eventually started to show up in this next clip right here. Or you could hear one start to show up. I think I sat there for about 30 minutes probably. There it is right there. So they started to show up, and as long as you're patient, they'll show up, within that time period, and as long as you don't make too much noise or whatever. So I think right here I heard another one, and I think that was the one. Actually, that wasn't the one that was traveling to the right. This was a male, and I saw him. I had to switch to my rifle right here, and I shot him. And then I heard another one to my left. Shot him. I think it was a pretty decent shot. So I sat there for a while and I got tired of waiting, so I was like, screw that, I'm going to go try to find the one that I heard earlier on. So eventually, right there. So I got 3 kills in that need zone. And if you're looking for a certain animal, it'll tell you whether it's it's a feeding zone or a water zone or a resting zone. I like resting zones for herds because they'll just sit there and lay down. Okay, so the other option is to use a ground blind. I mean, unless you're just running after them, you can use a ground blind. And I put this ground blind in between like 4 need zones, and they were all around 5:30, and then some were starting at 9 a.m. I think, after the other need zone. So if you place your ground blind, as long as you place it early enough, because if you place it, if I'm not mistaken, I think it spooks everything within 200 yards. So if you just place your ground blind and wait and use your collar. This was obviously in a different area, so it was a different deer. My collar worked this time. eventually they'll start to show up. I think I fast forwarded a little bit right here. So as long as you get there ahead of time, I think I went to this one at about, actually it was like 3:30. And then they'll start to show up. So I would say if you're looking for a trophy deer or something like that, depending on if you're looking for a trophy deer or if you're trying to just make money and level up, if you're looking for a trophy deer, then you may want to just sit there and call them back, because when they get close they'll get spooked. It'll show you that right here. And it's okay because it only spooks the one that's close to you, and the others will start to show up too. And I started calling the rest of them. I probably got like 2 or 3 kills right here, and usually the herds are a lot bigger, but I was just, you know, for the purpose of this video, I just sat there and waited. I was just trying, I wasn't looking for a trophy or anything for this one. But if you watch to the end of the video, I eventually get a kill right here, and you can usually shoot one and call the other ones back, and then shoot another one and call them back. Eventually they'll get more and more skittish over time, but yeah, if there's any questions, just put them in the comments. I think I pretty much covered most of it. I'll make another video for tree blinds and everything later for more details on that, but this covers the need zones. Thanks for viewing.